China didn't merely join the worldwide steel sector, they dominated it entirely. In under 4 decades, they transformed from manufacturing scarcely sufficient steel to construct a bridge to producing more than the complete remainder of the planet combined. We're discussing over 1 billion tons each individual year. While America's steel communities transformed into cemeteries and Europe's legendary factories went quiet, China constructed an empire so enormous that contemporary civilization now operates on their steel. And it all began with a choice that altered everything. 1978, China's manufacturing 37 million tons of steel annually. Appears remarkable until you comprehend. America's creating over 100 million tons. Japan's generating 102 million and the Soviet Union's pushing 150 million. China's steel sector is basic, antiquated, trapped decades in history. Laborers are utilizing apparatus from the 1950s. Furnaces that should have been discarded decades earlier are still operating. Then Deng Xiaoping makes the decision. Upgrade everything. Inject capital into heavy manufacturing. Purchase technology from the West. Construct larger. Construct quicker. Expand like nobody's ever witnessed before. Western corporations queue up to distribute their apparatus. They believe they're unloading antiquated technology to a nation that'll never advance. They're creating short-term gains on machinery they consider outdated. The Germans distribute blast furnaces. The Japanese distribute rolling facilities. The Americans distribute automation systems. But China's not merely purchasing apparatus. They're examining it, reverse engineering it, enhancing it. And they're constructing factories at a rate that makes Western executives anxious. One facility goes up, then another, then 10 additional. Communities that never had steel, manufacturing suddenly have enormous complexes extending for miles. The funding is staggering. Billions of dollars flowing into iron ore excavations in Inner Mongolia. Fresh ports constructed specifically to manage ore deliveries. Railway tracks built just to transport raw materials to the furnaces. By 1990, manufacturing reaches 66 million tons. By 1995, it's 95 million tons. The expansion curve is almost perpendicular. Every year, capability that required Western countries decades to construct appears in China in months. Then in 1996, something occurs that stuns the complete sector. China surpasses the United States as the planet's largest steel manufacturer. The nation that invented contemporary steelmaking just got overtaken by a country that was agricultural 30 years prior. But this was merely the preparation. 2001, China enters the World Trade Organization. The barriers open and suddenly China requires steel like a human requires oxygen. Beijing announces the 2008 Olympics. They're not merely organizing games. They're reconstructing an entire country on camera for the planet to witness. The Bird's Nest Stadium alone requires 42,000 tons of steel. The National Aquatic Center, the airport terminal, the subway expansions. Then arrives the infrastructure eruption. High-speed rail networks, extending thousands of miles across. Landscape that appears impossible to traverse. The Shanghai Tower. 632 meters of twisted steel ascending from the surface, demanding 120,000 tons of steel just for its skeleton. The Hongzhou Bridge, 22 miles long, requiring sufficient steel to construct 100 Eiffel Towers. Complete municipalities appearing where agricultural land existed just months prior. Bridges spanning distances that appear impossible. Residential complexes housing 50,000 inhabitants emerge in 18 months. Each one requires more steel than a modest American community uses in a decade. But here's where it becomes insane. In 2003, China's manufacturing 220 million tons yearly. 5 years afterward, for the Beijing Olympics, that figure doubles to 500 million tons. 500 million tons. In 5 years, they added more steel manufacturing capability than the complete United States possessed. The worldwide steel marketplace goes into shock. Values spike. Iron ore values triple. Demand is unquenchable. Western manufacturers can't maintain pace with orders. Vessels queue for weeks at Australian harbors, waiting to load ore destined for China. And China's not purchasing Western technology anymore. They're constructing their own. Bao Steel emerges as a technological powerhouse, developing steel varieties that didn't exist 5 years prior. Hubei Iron and Steel becomes a designation that controls more manufacturing capability than complete European countries. Wuhan Iron and Steel Company masters automation that puts Western facilities to shame. These aren't corporations. They're industrial empires with their own railways, their own harbors, their own municipalities. The furnaces operate 24/7. The yield is relentless. Then the West realizes something frightening. China's not merely catching up anymore. They're pulling forward. 2010, China's manufacturing 600 million tons of steel yearly. That's more than the following 10 nations combined. But they've got a challenge. They've constructed so much capability that their domestic marketplace can't absorb it all, even with construction everywhere. The facilities are manufacturing faster than the cranes can construct, so they do what empires do. They export. Chinese steel floods global marketplaces. Values crash. A ton of steel that cost $800 now costs $400, then $300. American facilities that survived a century can't compete. They cease operations. Bethlehem Steel, once the foundation of American manufacturing, gone. U.S. Steel slashes manufacturing by half. Nucor struggles. ArcelorMittal closes American facilities. Steel communities become abandoned towns. Youngstown. Gary, Pittsburgh watches its final facilities go cold. Europe's legendary facilities start falling like dominoes. ThyssenKrupp closes facilities across Germany. British Steel collapses. French facilities cease operations. Even Japan, the efficiency masters who revolutionized steel manufacturing in the 1980s, watched their manufacturing diminish year after year. The facilities that supplied Toyota and Honda can't compete with Chinese values. But China isn't halting. By 2015, they're manufacturing 800 million tons. That's half the planet's steel, half. One nation, one banner, absolute dominance. Then arrives the action that secures it. The Belt and Road Initiative. China's constructing harbors in Africa, railways across Asia, roadways through the Middle East, power stations in Southeast Asia, and every individual project uses Chinese steel. They're not merely dominating manufacturing anymore. They're controlling where it goes and what it constructs. Pakistan's Gwadar, Ethiopian railways, Indonesian smelters, all Chinese steel. But here's what nobody anticipated coming. China's steel isn't inexpensive garbage anymore. They're manufacturing the highest quality steel on the globe. Ultra-high-strength steel for skyscrapers that can endure earthquakes. Specialized alloys for aircraft that require to handle extreme pressure. Silicon steel for transformers that energize complete countries. Wear-resistant steel for excavation apparatus. The material you require to construct anything contemporary, anything that matters. Western corporations that require quality steel have no alternative. They purchase from China. Boeing purchases from China. Caterpillar purchases from China. Siemens purchases from China. 2020 arrives. China reaches 1,053 million tons. For perspective, India manufactures 118 million tons. Japan, 83 million. The United States, 73 million. Russia, 72 million. China manufactures more than all of them combined together, and then doubled more than the United States. India, Japan, Russia, South Korea, Germany, Turkey, and Brazil combined. And they control the complete supply chain. The iron ore processing, the coking coal, the rare earth elements required for specialty steels, the limestone for flux, the transportation networks, the shipping routes. You desire to construct a municipality, a navy, a power grid, an automobile factory. You're going through China. Today, 57% of the planet's steel originates from Chinese furnaces. When Shanghai requires steel for a fresh metro line, they manufacture it quicker than Pittsburgh ever imagined possible. When Africa requires steel for a dam, it vessels from Hebei. When Europe requires specialty steel for wind turbines, the order goes to Bausteel. When South America constructs bridges, Chinese steel crosses the Pacific. And now China's doing something even more frightening. They're future-proofing their dominance. Electric arc furnaces that reduce carbon emissions by 70%. Hydrogen-based steel manufacturing that eliminates coal entirely. Intelligent factories, operated by artificial intelligence that optimize every phase of manufacturing in real time. While Western countries debate climate policy and argue over regulations, China's already constructing the following generation of steel facilities. Environmentally friendly steel facilities in Inner Mongolia, carbon capture technology in Hebei, manufacturing methods that won't exist in the West for another decade. They're not merely leading today's steel sector. They're constructing tomorrow's. By 2030, analysts predict China will reach 1,200 million tons yearly, and it'll be cleaner, quicker, and more advanced than anything the planet has ever witnessed. The message is obvious. China assumed control of the worldwide steel sector, and they're never surrendering it back. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button for more updates.